All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Slow Markets. Let's go ahead and do an audio visual check. Gotta try the new intro video. Do you guys hear and see everything okay? Yeah, what an intro. Big shout out to the Topstep team, their creative side. They are absolutely amazing. But let's get started. Let's jump into it. No time to waste. It looks like everything's working good. Looks good. Sounds good. Always love to hear that. But as always, welcome to Slow Markets, everybody. I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA. In our Topstep chat, in the YouTube, there's our Topstep risk disclosures. Or risk disclosure. This is not a signals class. I say it every night. You see it on TopstepTV for educational purposes only. And I'm going to continue to reiterate and tell everybody here and start talking about how my slow markets is now structured, the way that I want it to go, the way that we're trying it, or at least I'm trying it, to provide the most value for everybody here and get your guys' feedback. We're going to go through the rapid fire. We're going to analyze Nasdaq, crude oil, Nikkei, and then gold, and that will transition nicely to our gold trade at 8 p.m. Central. And after the gold trade, maybe we'll do a brief Q&A, but then we're going to do the amazing statistics. So if you guys want me to look and review your statistics, you guys know where to share it. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the YouTube chat, and I'll share it a couple times. That is our Topstep risks, or our Topstep Discord. That's my channel in the Topstep Discord. Go ahead if you want me to review your statistics at the end of class. Put it in there, and then I'll pull it up. Last night was the first time I tried it. It was very fun. I learned a lot. I got a lot of great feedback, and slow markets is continuing to improve. I've absolutely loved it, and as I go through my not fast markets, my speed run, or my and I can never think too well in the evenings, but as I go through my rapid fire, feel free to ask questions. We have our amazing moderators here, and they will be sending me some of the questions, and I do see some of the questions already coming in. Gee whiz, for example, there's one question. Put it in the queue, and I will get to that as soon as I can. So let's get started. Let's talk about the Nasdaq. Here's the Nasdaq on the daily chart. And as much as I'd like to say this is a normal consolidation day, it wasn't, in the aspect of we're not in normal market conditions. But for the current market conditions, yeah, today was a consolidation day. We, as you can see on the daily, the New York session, this is kind of an indecisive candle. It's kind of crazy where we rallied up, we broke yesterday's high, and we basically came close to filling the Sunday gap, turned around, reversed, and finished at near these lows. Kind of finished where we opened up, maybe a little bit down. And then during the open tonight at 5 p.m. Central, we gapped down, and we're getting our casual 100-point move here on the Nasdaq, where right before I'm starting class, we're up 150 points, which is just interesting to say. But at least, and something that is positive, is we're consolidating, right? We're not continuing this massive, scary sell-off that, it could have been worse. We're seeing some buyers step in. We've seen buyers step in and push us all the way up to 470s, into the 470s, 18,470s. And then we just got hammered, it looks like, at the end of the day. And now we're starting to see buyers step in again near the, closer to 18,000. So let's go ahead and zoom in. Let's zoom into an hourly chart, and we can kind of see that from a daily perspective. One thing I'm liking is this is kind of what's holding up, right? This is a consolidation zone, and when we start to consolidate like this is a very big consolidation zone, 300 to 400 points here on the Nasdaq. It's sure enough, it's by the lows, and sell the highs. Where do we send your statistics? So right there, I shared it in here. I'm going to do it again. I don't know if, let's see if I could. There you go. There's the link. Share your statistics. I'll go over it a few times. But yeah, I think that's where we're at here in the market. We're kind of just consolidating. This is a big consolidation zone. Like I said, 300 to 400 points. And I think that's where we're at in terms of buy the dip, buy the low, sell high. So that being said, that could have, did we miss an opportunity to get long here in the Nasdaq? We right down here on the lows. Looks like we consolidated, and now we're starting to go higher. But yeah, for me, going into tonight and tomorrow, I'm looking for that exact thing. Maybe we see some type of a pattern like this. Of course, it might not be as clean. The second thing I would be looking at is maybe we do fail. Maybe we do go and for some reason, maybe we go and break this low and we continue down. Something that I was looking at tonight was this could be a possible double top, right? This is maybe if it's a double top and we do break below this 18,000 level and we can see some momentum and maybe a test back towards the lows that we made on Monday. So that is a consideration. Of course, we do have this major support and resistance zone that we made. So that would be my first area that if we do start to break, we could go see. And then the next one, right back down into this zone of 17,500 to 350. So somewhere down here. So that's saying if we do break, until then, I am going to look for the Nasdaq to stay in this, consolidation. Whether you want to look at the consolidation like that, or if you want to see it as more of a, some type of a channel or something, that's what I'm looking at. And, over the past 20 minutes since I started class, we're starting to say a beautiful, do we say rally? But it's a bounce, right? And you can see it over here on the 5-minute chart. And over the past 15, 30 minutes, you can see that right here is that open. We opened up and we gapped down, right? As soon as we gapped down at the 5 p.m. open, we closed, gapped, and there we go. There is our just casual 150, 140 points during slow markets, slowish markets anymore. Just a casual 140, 150 point rally here in the middle of just random time. No markets are open. Just nuts. So, yeah, it's very hard to trade. Lots of volatility. If you guys caught fast markets with me and my trading buddy Rips and MP, you guys seen I scaled down. I was trading micros. Just this crazy volatility you could make, you lose $1,000 really easy trading micros as well. Beautiful rally. Let's go ahead. Move on to the next. Let's take a look at crude oil. And sure enough, where were we at yesterday? Where are we at today? Let me just kind of get an idea. This is the first time I looked at crude oil today. Interesting pattern as well. This is where we were at last night. We were pushing these highs. I was looking for a pullback. We did get it. We did get a pullback back down towards the 73 level. We came to the 73 level. We got a bounce off of it, but that bounce, maybe, we got a bounce. This was a 60-cent bounce, and then immediately sold right back, broke that low, came down to the 72.30s, found some support around this zone. So that looks like a pretty decent support zone. And so we're looking at something like this. One thing I'm starting to recognize and starting to see from a pure technical standpoint is a flagging pattern. Two ways of looking at this. Is this a bullish flagging pattern or a bearish? Well, odds are it's bearish because we are in a downtrend. And the market for the past, over a month has been selling off here in crude oil. So it would be fair and reasonable to say that this could be a bearish flagging pattern. I am going to look at this more as neutral. And the reason why I'm looking at this as neutral is based off the daily. And on the daily, let me get rid of this we are sitting at support. And so we are finding a flagging pattern. We're finding some buyers still. We're kind of just hovering around the $72, $73 level, right at support. And it could go both ways, of course. If we do break down, we could see a nice sell-off down into the 68s. Maybe we touch 70 and go a little bit below $70 a barrel. If not, then yeah, definitely this flagging pattern could be a signal to look for, maybe some type of a pullback here in crude. So going back down to that hourly chart. So back on the hourly, let's take a look at this flagging pattern. And immediately we're seeing those higher lows, but we're seeing lower highs. Let's see. To me, the play would be either a breakout, and we could get triggered in long on the breakout, maybe look for a retest, and then a continuation. Yeah, then my drawing's not perfect. And then the exact opposite, right? If you're looking for a sell-off, then a breakdown, maybe some type of a retest, and then a continuation. There's the beautiful symmetric drawings. But that's what I'm looking at in crude. I need to trade crude a lot more, especially, and this is something I was actually thinking of as I was going through today and this afternoon, is I've been really focusing on the Nasdaq because the Nasdaq has had a lot of volatility. However, when you're struggling in a market or when it's a bit scary to be trading in a market like the Nasdaq, then very realistically, is it a better choice to take a look at a different market like crude oil and maybe, direct more of your focus to a different market. That being said, let's take a look briefly at Nikkei. This is the Japanese market, and sure enough, wow, there's one heck of a rally. Wow. Are we going to hit a circuit breaker here in the Nasdaq? That is not Nasdaq, Nikkei, my bad. So there we go. There could be an interesting thing, right? We're finding some support. We've higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, finding some support. Maybe we come back and test these 34,800, 35,000. Maybe we come up here and test this higher resistance. But that is quite the move again tonight. Are we gonna? That is, wow. What's the percentage on this? If anybody knows, what's the percentage of this move? I mean, that is quite the move. Over 1,000 on that one, and over the past hour, that is two and a quarter right now. 2.25. That's it. That's it. That's a big move. It just feels like it was a lot bigger than that. 2.25, 2.5. That is definite. Yeah, I'm glad I could bring some FOMO to you guys, but that is a move. That is something else. How far will it go? Who knows? Immediately found a lot of buyers. Wow. Gonna stay away from that, and that is just too volatile for my taste, and especially in something as like the like the Nikkei. I keep saying Nasdaq because I've been talking about Nasdaq so often. The measuring tool shows percentage. Did I just not see it? Am I that blind? Oh, there we go. 3 3.33. So that is a 3.33% move. That's a big move. That is a really big move. And even yesterday, look at this move. This one was a 5.33, right? That's over a 5% move in an hour. So in 1 hour, the Nikkei moved 5%. And then tonight, in 1 hour, 55 minutes, we've moved 3%. So And it looks like it's so far not stopping. We're continuing to make new highs on the Nikkei. This new high, new high, new high of this session, and continuing to push. This is absolutely, it's just insane. This market is something I don't think I've ever experienced. I know there is a lot of these moves, not quite like this on the Nikkei. Maybe it's just very volatile. This is very, very rare to make sure we all understand that this is not normal. That we have a lot of new traders. We have a lot of new people coming in to learn the markets and to understand what is trading, especially during the summer. This is very abnormal to see moves like this. It's don't expect that. I will not trade. I'm not going to be trading this because it is such a crazy market, and you can make and lose a lot of money really quick. Hoop says Nikkei popped right at the open. Yeah, I mean, right there, right? Just immediately as soon as we opened up, it's just been straight up. And who knows where this will stop. This is just definitely scary in terms of how do you trade this. If you ask me, how do I trade this? Just that you don't. It's untradeable in my opinion, because you try and sell it and you're selling. I mean, take a look at this. Look at the DOM and watching this. See the bid, sometimes the bid and ask. See the bid and ask, and the bid and ask can move before there's even orders being filled. And just a second ago, the bid and ask was all the way above the high, and the last order filled was like 4 or 5 ticks below. So very volatile, look right there. See, last fill price was there. And so try not to catch a falling knife or to fade a very, very strong rally. It could be very scary and detrimental. Trading like a low float stock, yes. And just like I said Sunday, and Hoop mentioned it again, scale down. If you're trading minis, maybe trade micros. Don't trade the Nikkei because it's $25 per tick, and it's definitely not something to be trading if you're new or if you do not have that confidence to trade it. That being said, let's go ahead, and we're moving right along here. Let's take a look at gold, and then we can transition to our gold trade. So gold, let's take a look at the hourly. We have been selling off on gold. It's been quite the sell-off since we failed to hold above the $2,500 level. Big sell-off, big pullback, and as everybody knows, I like to measure these moves and say how far can we move when we do sell off. These have been some vicious moves. So, very realistically, I can possibly see gold, coming back down and testing, maybe testing 2,400, maybe 2,380s. That could be an option if we do continue this sell-off using a very basic, simple method. We had this sell-off from the high. We also had this extended move. Maybe there's the break, this somewhere. We can see something down here. And the next support level I have, happens to be, that does not look like too bad of a support zone. Right around these 23, like there's support resistance there. It's a pretty bigger zone. So 2390s, maybe you could extend it all the way up to 2,400, but that's a big support zone. I can see gold if we do start to sell off and break down. That could be a great area for the markets to find buyers and sellers. And I moved really quick. 10 minutes until the 8 p.m. gold open. Let's take a look at a 5-minute chart. Not gold open, but 8 p.m. trade, right? Okay. Immediately what I'm seeing, this could be a really good opportunity. I'm liking this setup tonight. I really am. This is a 5-minute chart. I do see a lot of support here during the New York session open. We're seeing some support step in right now. This afternoon, there's a lot of support coming in around 2420s. First thing I'm seeing is There's a lot of resistance here around these 24.27s. So this is a decent zone. There's some support around 24.27. So 27 to 22 seems to be a good range. Maybe we do get a nice rally up there and then look for an opportunity to get in short in the direction of this market. Or we just try and play a breakdown. Maybe if you believe the market could turn around and go up, right? Like I see some traders in the chat saying a double top or a double bottom, I mean. Maybe we look for a rally. And we still have about 9 minutes, and I think now's a good time to point out, and this is something that let me just confirm on this end. Just one second. I'm just confirming something on my end before I go through this. Yeah, I'll wait to make sure I can confirm this. I don't want to misspeak or anything. But yeah, as we wait, that's what I'm looking at. Let me draw this support zone. So there's a support, and there is going to be the resistance that I'm going to be looking at in about 8 minutes to go through it. And so we'll see what can come of it as we wait. As we're waiting, let's get to some questions. I'm trying to get to some questions as we go through this. The first one, gee whiz. Dakota, you were looking to go short this morning on the Nasdaq. Then you switched your bias to go long. Kind of surprised people. Can you go over what changed your bias? Yes, I will go over what changed as soon as this gold trade is finished. Remind me if I miss it. Dakota, do you monitor the Magnificent Seven? My answer is going to be no, I do not. It does not affect. I mean, I do not to an extent. I will get an update throughout the day. I could just kind of see on general how the markets are trading, but it will not influence how I trade myself. How long have I traded before I was profitable? I bet you it was on the longer side, 4 years plus until I was profitable. And then, can you speak to the new daily level indicator and how to best utilize them? Yes, I will be talking about the new level indicator, the daily level indicator. I will talk through that as soon as I go through this. As we talk about the gold trade, that's something I'm excited for. It's going to make my life easier as a trader because I know there's a lot of those amazing levels. Those daily levels that we get at Topstep really have been accurate and in line with my levels. And so I'm really going to be curious to see how my levels match up to the daily levels and the daily level indicator. And if that's the case, it's going to make my life easier. That's one less thing I have to worry about. And everybody knows here how I like to find ways to simplify my trading, and that might be one of them. I'm never a big fan of indicators in terms of like moving averages. I understand Fibonacci's. Fibonacci I don't really like that. I don't say that's an indicator. It's a drawing tool, but I'm not a big fan of indicators. Not the fact that they're not useful, because indicators can be very useful, but to me it just complicates my trading. It's just another thing that I have to focus on and look at. But let's take a look at this. We have 6 more minutes. I'm going to now zoom into a 1-minute chart, and we can kind of see this a little bit better. The first thing I'm looking at is there is some resistance. Like this can be looked at as resistance, but the next resistance is really close. So that's something to be said. I'm going to watch this. We're going to see about this. Aquil, Coach Dakota, does slippage work both ways, like in your favor? My answer is going to be say yes. You can have both positive slippage and negative slippage. Unfortunately, I experience negative slippage a lot more than I experience positive, but it does work both ways. Yep. Yes, I am going to be reviewing statistics. So if you guys missed it, I am dropping a link in the chat. There is the link in the chat. That is to the Discord, Topstep Discord, my channel. If you want me to review your statistics, send your statistics link in Topstep X. As you can see, I'm going to briefly go through this, and then I want to focus on this gold trade. So Under performance stats, over here on the top right hand side, you could click on share, copy link, and then you share this link to that channel. And then I'll go in, it will allow me to view your statistics, and we'll talk about them. I'm going to be doing that at the end of class. It's fun. It's been very useful, and I will always be looking to get your feedback. So let's focus on this gold trade now. Let me see if I'll just pin that to the chat, actually. Give me a second. I'll pin that link. So there we go. There is that. And I will pin it. Pinned. There we go. Boom. Coach Dakota, what's your full-time job? If you believe this, Torrent, my full-time job and what I do and make as my primary income, or one of my primary income, is trading. Like making money in the markets, and not just futures. And I do have to be honest, it's not just futures. I do trade options. I do trade futures. I do trade, not trade. I do buy shares of stocks, and then I shall sell something called like covered calls. So there's options, there's, regular shares, then of course futures. Futures is more of like a day trading, but options is also part of my full-time job. So overall, trading and investing is my full-time job. So it's hard for me to say, oh, I'm a day trader and that's my full-time job. No, because I love to do other things. Outside of trading and outside of Topstep, I also do other work, and I have other commitments that also brings income. So lots of other stuff. Okay, 3 minutes, and I'll walk through this. Like I said, this is purely an example. We've been going through this every night. Just walk through this out. I walk through this and I talk through it. So as I am trading this, as I am watching this happen, I'm going to just think out loud. And you guys can ask questions. We could analyze it. We'll do kind of like a journaling. And hopefully this is helpful. And maybe we could find a good opportunity. We've been finding really great opportunities here at 8 p.m. in gold throughout the past couple months. And let's see if tonight is any different. Make money, lose money, and we'll go. Let's see. We are pushing higher. So I kind of like this because the way I'm looking at this now is, remember, we looked at the higher time frame and we have a lot of room to the downside. So we have a lot of room to sell off and break support. And so the fact that we are rallying to this next resistance, and now this resistance, right, is based off of, there's a lot of resistance here, support and resistance, and back up again here. So I do like that we are rallying a little bit early. We still have a minute. So I think I'm okay with looking for a reversal. So I'm going to go and get rid of this, and I'm going to look for a reversal up into this resistance zone. So let's see if the market could give us a reversal. And then my stop loss is going to be the opposite side. Immediately, I like this kind of a pivot point as a stop loss if I could get triggered into a short. So we'll see. We are getting some sellers step in. I want to give it a minute. The open doesn't start, or 8 p.m. is in basically a minute. And I'd like to see more of a confirmation. Maybe let this minute close and see if we could still find some selling pressure up into this. Now I'm focused, okay, guys? So I will continue to get through questions tonight, but I am going to be focusing, talking out loud. Oh, let's see if I could get in. That happened a little bit quick. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and put my stop loss up there. I'm going to be okay to getting into a second one. So I got triggered into my first. Of course, I would have liked to get in right at that 3-bar reversal, but a little nice spike in volatility. That would be more of that 3-bar reversal. Let's watch, because I want to get into a second one. And I'm okay with that stop loss. Maybe a little bit early. Now that I'm watching it a little bit early. I would have rather got in at of course, a higher price. But that was a 3-bar reversal I was looking at. Is we came up, this was the resistance zone. And as soon as that triggered, of course, I would have rather taken 26.4, 26.3. That's okay, risking 340. Let's see if I could get into the second contract. Now remember, I want to get into multiple contracts. Still looking good. I'm okay if we do have more of a continuation to the sell side. First thing I'm thinking of now is, maybe there's an option to move my stop loss to 27.9. I would be now only risking 200 as compared to 330. So, that is valid to me. Moving my stop loss from 29.2 down to 28.1. So that is valid to move my stop loss lower. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So original stop loss, I'm going to now make a note of this. So I'm going to, I need to make sure I change this to ticks. There we go, changing it to ticks. Zoom in. And I'm going to say, if I move my stop loss, I would be risking 21 ticks. So I'm going to go ahead and put a note here and say, quick move of stop loss to minus 21 ticks. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And yeah, let's watch. Let's see how this market plays out. And like I said, I'm going to be thinking out loud as going through this trade. So like this reaction so far, we found that resistance. And the nice thing is, that's what I was like kind of looking at, right? We mapped this resistance out before as we was getting there, that this is a decent resistance zone. We rallied up there. We started to show some sellers right before 8 p.m. and we played the trade. Now the question, does it work out, right? Because I don't look at 100% win rates. I don't win every trade. Why do I not take this trade on XFA or live? Because this is for education. If I was to place a trade on XFA or live, I might not even trade every single night. But like I said, this is a class and I like to teach and to walk through my thought process on this trade. And this is a trade and 8 p.m. open during volatility, because we see a spike in volatility in gold at 8 p.m. Central each night. And so we are walking through this trade each night and, understanding, how do we journal? How do we get into a trade? How do we get out of a trade? How do we, move a stop loss, or where can we look for take profits? And thinking through this, is my ultimate goal is to help traders. Like, that is the goal. And sure enough, the first thing I'm thinking of is take profit back down towards the bottom of the support. So take profit, that would be about, what is this? 35 ticks for my first take profit. So let's go through this. Like I said, I'm going to be journaling as well on chart. And we'll go through this. And that's if it sells. If not, we're risking 35 ticks. I think 34. So risking 34. If we would have instantly moved our stop loss, then we're risking, say, 21. But let's see. Like I said, this is hopefully a great example. You know what I love? I love as soon as I place this trade, I started to see traders come in here and say, oh, that was a bad trade. That was a bad trade. Lots of backseat trading, but that is not the goal, right? The goal is not to just come in and say, okay, I'm going to win this trade. The goal for this is to talk through an opening breakout on gold at 8 p.m. And like I said, for educational, walking through it, I do want to win these trades. Like, the point of this is to become profitable. So I am placing these trades with a valid reason. And it's been profitable in the long run. And profit does not always look like win, 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 win. And as we go through statistics at the end of the shows going forward, I hope to show that there's a lot of traders, and there's a lot of the good traders who have low win percentages. I'm one of them. I have about a 30 to a 40% win rate, which that means you lose 60 to 70% of your trades. And so you understand that the majority of the time you're going to have losing trades. but then the risk reward is going to be a lot greater where, yeah, I'm risking 33 ticks, but then when I do have winning trades, they could be 60, 100 plus ticks depending on the market volatility. But that is just, I want to continue to explain that and just beat it as through so many traders I know, myself included. I am a trader. Very, very hard-headed. Traders can be very hard-headed. So 21 ticks. So that first one stopped out. So if I would have quickly moved this, let's see if I could edit this. So a quick move of stop loss to, so stopped. So I'll just say stopped. So this would have been stopped out. Stopped out. Quick move, stop loss to 21. So this would have resulted in a minus 21 ticks of an immediate stop loss. Okay. So now if this continues to rally up and stops me out completely, then, this would have been a good decision. So instead of losing 33, I would have only lost 21. So this particular example, if it does go up and stop me out, then I will say this could be a really good decision. As soon as we moved and seen some sellers step in, saved 22 ticks. And that's what we're doing in this type of a strategy, and in the long run from statistics. This matters a lot. The difference between 33 ticks and 21 ticks. That is a 12 tick difference. However, that's where we could go through and understand your statistics. Is that 12 ticks difference worth the probability that the market might do exactly what we might see it do now, come up, stop me out, and then turn around? So that, as traders, we have to understand. Is this 12 ticks of risk worth whatever probability we want to put on the market, doing, a nice little fake out, stop out, and then turn around? And we must determine that as traders when it comes to statistics, right? And the only way we could determine that is trading and gaining that statistics. So that way we could say, yes, this 12 ticks is worth it, or no. Statistically, it makes sure that moving my stop loss here results in more profit over the long run. I did not change. There you go. So, yeah, hopefully this is going, hopefully I'm explaining these things as I'm going through it. And I know some of this can be advanced, so please bear with me. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. A lot of what I'm going through can be more advanced, just depending on where you are at in your trading journal or trading journey per se. But so far so good. Like I said, it seems like, and this is another thing I love about trading. Every single night it's different. I have yet to experience the same thing like 3 or 4 times in a row. Every single night, and I hope this is also great for slow markets in this exact example, and why I'm doing it is it's a new night. The markets do not act exactly the same most of the time. Like, last night maybe we got a big whipsaw in reverse. This night we're seeing maybe a stop hunt and then a turnaround. The night, and over and over and over again, it's new every night. I love that about trading, and it's absolutely one of the top things on what drives me to the markets. Is it's never boring, it's never the same thing, and there's always something new. And then on top of that, there's always something to be learned. Like, I'm always trying to learn. I'm a student, right? And that's it. Like, there's definitely something for me to be studying and learning and trying to get better. Dakota, what have you been setting the stops on NQ during the New York sessions point-wise? It depends. I don't have my stops at an exact set of points. It's based off of support and resistance. So that's a tough question, and it depends. So far so good. We're still kind of just consolidating here in the hovering around 24.27. Now, if we kept our stop up here, then maybe what we can consider is saying, let's put a time stop, right? Maybe if you have a stopwatch, a clock, and saying, if gold does not move in the first 10 minutes after 8 p.m. Central Time, then I just close it, right? So that can be something. So let's do that as an example. Let's just say, how do I do this? I want to say this real quick. Let's 20. So bear with me. This is very rough. Let's just say 12, right? I guess I could just read it right here. So let's just say if there was a time stop, and this is very reasonable, let's just say timed. Okay, timed out. You could definitely do this. I know traders who actually love to do this. You could say time stopped 10 minutes minus what time is it? Let's see. So we could just say minus 11 ticks. So that is something that is valid. I don't use this a lot. I like to just let it play out in my own trading, but I do know some really good traders who love time stops and saying, if this is going to break, I want it to break now. And if it doesn't break and if it takes too long, I'm just going to get out. And sometimes right there, if it does rally up and go back up to here, then I would say that saved me 21 ticks, right? If time is stopped, and then you have to do that same example, like, okay, is it worth it? How often does it go back up and hit my stop loss if I do time it out? Or how often does it just continue and then I would have been in profit, right? So there's another example that we can do on here. So let's go through. Still waiting, being patient. Let's get to some more questions while we wait. There's still a lot of questions going through here. Now remember, I pinned to the chat at the top of the YouTube chat. There's that link to share. Oh, is that it? Oh, that's my. Oh, I pinned the wrong link. Let me pin the right one. I pinned my link. Let's do this. This is what I want to pin to the chat so you guys could share. Let me make sure. I got to make sure I'm doing the right things here. There's the Discord. So that on that Discord channel, that's pinned to the chat. If you want me to review your statistics, the last 30 minutes of class, put it in there. It's a new thing I'm doing. And going through the statistics is where I'm going to be going a lot. And like I'm a statistics-driven trader in terms of statistics, support and resistance, technical analysis is what I absolutely love. And let's get some more questions. Where would you be? Okay, where would be your price to add position on gold? To add to this position, I would want to see a continuation. So if I wanted to add to this position, let's just say for whatever reason, I wanted to add a third contract. I would either want to get in to a third contract here at 24.26. If we break, you see how we kind of found a little bit of support around 26.1, 26. So I would add if we break there, or more likely, if we come all the way back down to 24.8, maybe 24.7, if we break down here around, say, 24.6, then I would add my third contract. So those are the most likely places I would like to add if we do get that break. But that's just an example on the way that I'm playing this gold trade. Can you go over 3-bar reversal setup? I've went over it so many times. Maybe near the end of class, I'll go over that one again. There we go. This market is just going sideways. This market is very well going sideways. So And we're getting some sellers. Look, we're failing to break out to the upside. So that is, oh, there's a spike in volatility. So you could also do that, right? Like what would have happened if I added right there at 26.1, 26.1, 26.2. You could do so many hypotheticals in this trading. So now for me, the fact that we rejected these three, I am more inclined to move my stop loss. So I am going to say it is now valid based off the way I like to trade to move this stop loss to 24 ticks. So we've rejected this 3 times, and so I am now moving my stop loss as we start to go down. So valid for me, max risk 24 ticks. Why does that keep changing? Come on, 23, 24 ticks. And we'll continue to, let's see if we get that sell off. So here we go. Let's see if we can find that increase in volatility and get to some sellers. So first thing that I'm thinking of now is going back to our take profits. Let's zoom out to a 5-minute and let's see about taking profit, because I definitely want to trail one if we do break. So option, take profit around 22s, in the 22s. That's the first one. And then this, yeah, I mean, that's the second one, maybe 24.05. We do have that pivot, 24.05, 24.04, maybe like somewhere in these closer to 2400 for a trailing. So just going through, keeping that in mind on this particular trade. Let's zoom back out. Let's zoom back into the 1 minute. Oh, that's the 1 second. We'll go back to the 1 minute chart. Let's watch it. We'll continue to watch this. I'm going to continue to answer some questions. Now, remember, guys, we will be reviewing some statistics right after this gold trade. And I'm going to do the statistics after this gold trade. This gold trade could last 15 minutes. It could last 30 minutes. But whenever this gold trade comes to a conclusion, whether it's a stop loss or take profit, that is when I would be talking about statistics. But here we go. If we wanted to add to this trade, right here would be it, right? If we did break down below 24/7, then very much that could be a possibility to add to this trade. So basically right there, that would have been an add to a short, based the way that I'm viewing it on this example. But so far, so good. So interesting. Don't we just love trading? So many different ways, so many different styles of trading as well. And everybody has their own unique view on how they see the markets. So love it. It just outstanding. Okay, I'm going to answer this. Well, this is a good question. I'm going to answer this question while we watch gold. And immediately we're continuing to sell off. I'm going to just trail this. We're gaining a lot of momentum to the sell side. And look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, okay, new scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. If we would move our stop loss to break even, how would that look? So then I'll answer that question I see. So move stop loss to break even. -0 ticks. So there we go. Now would be a decent way. Where's everybody at who is complaining about bad trade, right? I love it. Dakota, please go over your psychology of New York session versus the Asian session. It's been very similar as of late because of the volatility, but psychologically, you just can't let your emotions get to your trading. I know it's easier said than done. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get out of one and lock in profit. So let's get out of one. I'm going to get out of one at bid. Boom. Take profit 1 right there. So we're going to say first take profit hit plus 40 ticks. Wherever that was. plus or minus. So first TP hit plus 40 ticks. So far so good. And now closer to 2400. We're going to trail this. Now I am perfectly fine with moving my stop loss to break even. Just above this little area is beautiful for me. And we're going to trail this baby down. And this is the power of, yeah, stopped out. I mean, so many different scenarios, right? Just love it. And we'll see how long this gold trade lasts. I mean, we have 8 more minutes until I'm inclined to start looking at statistics. Dakota made 2,000 in my XFA. Awesome work. Awesome work. Now remember, this is not a signals class. To each their own. Hopefully that this does help and we could continue to become better and consistent traders. And don't you love trading? By the way, real quick, why not? While we wait, here's a poll. Do you like me going over statistics at the end of class? Like I said, I really want your feedback. If you joined me yesterday, great. You understand what I'm talking about. If not, after this gold trade, I will be reviewing traders' statistics. Everyone, there's that link that's still at the top. If you want me to review your statistics, it's a great conversation. I could answer questions. Like I said, I'm still curious. I want to know if I'm going to continue to do it. Last thing I want is to just get it to where it's very boring or repetitive, but it's getting you guys involved. It gets you guys involved. You guys get to get your questions answered and or asked, and you get me to go over your statistics, and maybe it's helped you. I would be curious, out of the traders who I review your statistics, I would love to know if it's helped you. And I know we just started this, and I only went over like 2 or 3, but maybe a month from now, I would love to know, if I go over your statistics, if it helps you, or even if it just helps you if it's not your statistics, because that's the goal. Add value, help you. So, okay, now here's that first profit was hit at plus 40 ticks. We're sitting here at plus 50 in this market volatility, and I still have that beautiful opportunity to answer questions. Let me get to a few more, and I can maybe start looking at some of your guys' statistic submissions. We got a lot of them. I love that. Someone says, Fade Dakota is not until Friday. Fade Dakota Friday, not Fade Dakota Tuesdays. Or it's technically Wednesday now. So, question. Here is a hypothetical. So there's the take profit hit. The next hypothetical, okay, is moving my stop loss. So this is aggressive trailing. So aggressive trailing. Oh my gosh, look at gold just selling off. I'm going to go ahead and do trailing stop. And this will be plus, it looks like 38 ticks. So if I was to move my trailing stop to here, I'd say, because, and I'm going to walk this through, everybody. So we are seeing some sellers come in here. We broke through this. This was support, and we tried to buy back. Support is maybe becoming resistance. That is a possibility. And so that could be a fair decision to move my stop loss just above where these sellers come in. It looks like 1 or 2 pivot points right there on the 1-minute chart. So that is an option, right? Or, I'm going to wait. I do like to have more of a defined move and pivot in order to move my trailing stop. But, this is very well an option. And it could lock in profits a lot quicker depending on how you are as a trader. Yeah, we are moving to major support. Check the 1 hour. We did do a brief analysis, so if you missed it, we do regular analysis. There is some major even more major support, on this higher time frame lower, right? And then as we start to zoom in, then of course we start to get a little bit tunnel visioned. But that higher time frame allowed for me and to understand where these support and resistance are, to trailing the stop. But let's go through this. Trailing stop minus 38 ticks. And then once we're done, what I love to do, what I've been doing is, once this trade comes to a conclusion, we can put this all on one screen, take a beautiful picture or screenshot and file that away in our journal, and we can analyze it, right? So I would like to see a nice little, either a rally and then a continuation down. To me, this trailing stop is a little bit too aggressive, but I've had some traders, and it is also something that can be considered. I'm a little bit more loose, let's just say. I'm more loose with my stops, if I dare say that. So that was a trailing stop hit. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Trailing stop. So this one would have been trailing stop. Okay, I'm going to go stopped out. Trailing stop plus 38 ticks. So if that was the conclusion, I don't want to get it. So let's go there. So if that was the conclusion right there, we would have net, what is this? There's the profit. There was the profit. $800 would be the conclusion of that trade. However, like I said, this is a test. This is for educational. And I also do like, in my personal trading, to see this type of a bounce and then maybe see a continuation. And once, if not, because it never happens, if and only if we see this type of a move, then I will move my stop to that next pivot. So I'm a little bit more loose. Is that the right way to trade? Is it the wrong way? No. It just, is that consistent, and is it profitable? And can you do it over and over again and have a positive expectancy? So far, so good. I think I'm happy with the way this is working out. I don't want to sit here and put on too much focus on this gold trade. I'll bounce back to this gold trade every once in a while, and we'll talk about it in terms of like how this trade's working. Maybe it just runs up and hits a stop to my stop loss that's at 0 ticks, or we get this continuation. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'm going to get to a few more questions, and we're going to view some of your guys's statistics. So 2 more questions, and we'll move over to the statistics side. First one, Dakota, when is the best time to trade the Nikkei, in my opinion? My opinion is right now. I love the Asian market. I learn how to trade during this time of night. It's 7, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Central, right as the Asian markets are open. We see a nice little spike in volatility. Nikkei is the Japanese market. Japanese markets are open. Asian markets are open. So I would say that could be the best time. The next best time is the New York session, right? The New York session is the volatile on all markets. So it really is up to you. My suggestion, if you're just learning how to trade, the Nikkei could be a monster in terms of it's $25 per tick, and it could be very difficult. So if you're brand new, I would not suggest the Nikkei. But in terms of just a time frame, me personally, I like the Asian session. New York session is always a good choice because it's volatile and there's a lot of liquidity during the New York session. New York, London overlap. But yeah, we're starting to see that pivot. How cool would that be if we just, have that bounce and have that continuation, almost like I trade for a living, right? That would be something else. And I never know. Anything could happen. You never know. I do not know the future. We could just trade it the best we can, and we know how the markets react, and so we could just, give it our best shot. So let's see. Last question, and then we'll move on to the statistics. Okay, Dakota, do you think the Nasdaq has more downside before the end of the month? I'm not going to say anything. I'm bullish on the Nasdaq. just because I'm all for buying dips. I'm a dip buyer. I'm a permanent bull. I've always been. When we get oversold, then I become bearish, obviously. But I'm all for the long side. And I'm all for Nasdaq and the market's going up. However, could we see more continuation down? Yeah. I analyzed it at the very beginning of class. I do see that we could see some more continuation to the downside. But I like to be, I'm a market buyer. Like, maybe that's my stubbornness or hard-headedness. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. Some of my ugly days are when I am buying the markets and it's selling off, and it's hindsight's 2020. I'm like, dang, that was stupid. Why was I buying it? But others is just, how many times in our history do we go back and say that sell-off was an amazing buying opportunity? Every time, right? Just because we just got finished hitting all-time highs, and every sell-off prior were amazing buy the dip opportunities. It's just when we do have ugly sell-offs and you happen to get caught in one, you're not blowing your account, right? It's capital preservation. It's okay to buy and be a buyer in the market that's selling off, as long as you're not blowing your account, as long as you're doing it with a reason and you're doing it with a strategy and it's consistent. And there's long-term, there's day trading. They're two completely different things. Just every single time we have a big sell-off in the markets and everyone's screaming, the sky is falling, the markets are crashing, recession. We've been through many recessions. We've been through the early 2000s. We've been through world wars. We've been through, 9/11. We've been through the market crash, 2008. And yet the first 6 months of this year, all-time high. And those were all just beautiful opportunities to buy the dip. And I see no reason for that to change. That's it. So anyway, famous last words. This time's different. You can always print new money. That's anyway, I don't want to get into politics. Let's get to statistics. We'll keep jumping back and forth on this trade. So far, this stop loss is at break even. If we was trailing it aggressively, then 38 ticks. Let's see where this one goes. Now, let's take a look at some of these statistics. In the meanwhile, I'm going to get a drink. Give me just 1 second. So hold that thought. 1 moment. Okay. Just didn't want you guys to see what I was drinking. Let's take a look at some of your guys' statistics. All right, here we go. First one, let's take a look at this. I want to get it set up. Let's pull up your statistics. How is it looking? Right there. Beautiful. Nice and big. You guys could see it. I'm not in the way by too much. I can move it over here. Okay, first one. I love these Coach T tips. Always have reasonable expectations with your trading and know that you could only get out of this what you put in. Risk management, patience, and discipline will bring you success in your trading. I love that this is at the top of the site. So anyway, let's dive into this. Great trading. First negative thing is there's only 3 days, right? So it's very hard to understand statistics based off of only 3 days, but so far so good, right? $6,000 in 3 days. You can't argue with that. 100% win rate. It's only a matter of time. That's going to change. You cannot keep 100% win rate all the time, right? I mean, at least from my experience. Average win, average loss, infinite means you have no losses. So the question now is going to be, don't have fear, don't be afraid to trade, but understand, there are going to be losers coming into these statistics. If you take a loss, just don't let it get out of hand. I see too many traders who come in and they start out really, really good. This is a really good start. a lot of money, 3 days, and your 100% win rate. But when those losers do come, just do not let that just wreck this account. Don't turn these great statistics negative in just a day. If you guys were catching the statistics last night, yeah, I mean, this is not my statistics. Let me make sure. This is a user, one of you guys in the chat. This is one of the user submitted statistics that we are reviewing. So if we will have a losing trade, that's a given. Just do not let them get too big and out of hand. If we scroll down, let's see Coach T's suggestion. I'm always curious on what Coach T has to say. Your least successful trading time is from 4 to 8. You might want to avoid. Interesting. Just this is what I expect. Very limited information here, right? Only 3 days of statistics. Very limited information. There's not a lot to really go over on here. The first thing I'm seeing is long 10 contracts. I dare say that could be too big, right? 10 contracts, 2 trades under 15 seconds, really fast. 1 to 2 minutes, 1 trade. Not really much to analyze here. So far, it looks like you've already placed 1 trade tonight, $72. So not much. 10 contracts can be too big. It's really big. So that's what I'm saying. There's not much to analyze. I think this is good because a lot of traders might see this. And yeah, good point to hit on. If you have your statistics like this, it's just not enough right now to have a good analytics and good information. Just not enough information. The first thing I'm seeing is be careful. Be careful trading this big of size, especially in this market condition. So, boom. Looks like we did get stopped out right there at plus or minus 0 ticks. So there's that gold trade. It came to a conclusion. I'm going to go ahead and take that. There you go. There's tonight's gold trade. Depending on how we manage, I'm going to actually make it look a little bit better and then take that screenshot. Okay, let's move on to the next. So here we go. Oh, this one's I like this one. This is in an express funded account. So express funded account, instantly, there's a lot more, there's a lot more on the line, right? You have more in the game. There's more pressure on an express funded account. I like that. That means there's a lot more focus. I'm always thinking about losing money as opposed to, Coach T is saying he's always thinking here. Coach T is always thinking about losing money as opposed to making money. Don't focus on making money. Focus on protecting on what you have. That goes back to those other statistics. 3 days, you made $6,000. Focus on not losing money. For this statistics, $2,700. That's a good amount of money. These statistics, it looks like it spans a good 1 month. So there's 1 month worth of statistics. I like that. $2,700 in 1 month is good. That's nothing to be sad about. $2,700, it's a profit. This is an express account, and that's great to see. Win rate just above 50%, 54%. That is good to see. That, of course, it's not independent. It goes hand in hand with your average win and average loss. 1.15. So really close. You can see there's a lot of trading days, and it's right around just above the 50%, just above the good risk reward. I love that. I like it. Winning day percentage, 83. Profit factor, that's giving, made 10,000, lost 7,000. So, at least you're not letting your losing days just completely blow your account. It's interesting to see this equity curve, right, where you're having these big dips, and you're kind of grinding higher, and then one day right back down, grinding higher, right back down, and then grinding higher. So it's taking a lot more effort to grind higher versus like the 1 day, and then you have a string losses and right back down to 0. However, lots of data from this, good statistics. Your profit factors, 1.36, try increasing this by focusing on trades with higher probabilities of success. That's reasonable. That's reasonable. I like that. Total number of trades. So total number of trades, 159 trades in a month, about a month. Is that on the higher end? Maybe. It's been on the higher end from the statistics we looked at yesterday. The number of lots traded is 2. So it looks like, average, you're trading 2 contracts, right? 2 contracts per trade. Average trade duration 8 minutes. That's reasonable. And okay, here we go. Getting down into the statistics, right? Starting to dissect some of this. Average winner versus average loser. I like this. So I like the fact that this is only $120. Only $120. Only $100. Let me see. It's okay. So you're not going to blow up an account losing $100, right? I like to see that. Winning $100, reasonable expectations. You're not looking to have home runs, right? This is in no reason. I like that this is not a home run hitter. You're not just going for home runs, base hits. I like that about this. Your best trade, 1,000 versus your worst trade. So that's a great 2-to-1 risk reward on the extremes, right? Extremes to the good side, extreme to the downside. I absolutely love that. And it shows in your equity curve. Look, nice, consistent equity curve going up. This is, now a reminder, this is an express account, so there's a lot of pressure on. You could receive a payout when it comes to an express funded account. So it's not just like a combine, right? So I like this, having a bad day and then not letting that affect you emotionally, and just taking a guess here that, a lot of traders I see, when you have a bad day, usually there's a lot more to follow. And you can see it. There's nothing too dramatic about this. Scrolling down to your trade count, this is a very good bell curve, right? This is a good distribution, a nice bell curve where it looks like the majority of your trades is right around 2 to 5 minutes, 1 to 2, 5 to 10. I really like this. When we're looking at this, out of those 2 trades, one of them was under 50. 2 trades here. There's one that you held a little bit longer. And it looks like the majority, some of your losses, that's a really good distribution as well. I would dare say on both of these, good distribution on the trade duration and the win rate. So good there. Let's take a look at this. This is what I'm curious about. This is kind of what I was suspecting a little bit. And I'm going to be curious to see going forward on how many traders we could review. And we could talk about this, right? So first of all is, you even had some trades in June. Nice. So so here's a good point. This is a good point. So you started this in June. Let me make sure. I got to make sure I'm taking everything into consideration. There we go. So there you go. That makes sense. So it's a little bit better, which is good, right? So it's more profit. Forgot to add June. So here is something very, very important. And the reason why I say this is very important is because this answers and that shows that you're cutting losses. So I added those and it immediately changed your statistics. So I added those 3 days and instantly I see that you are cutting your losses short. I love that. You're not letting those losses last, getting into the 2 to 10 minute area. You're cutting those losses short. Very, very good sign. So here's something I want to touch base on. I knew I would find somebody like this. This is a very positive, and this is a green flag. How can I explain this? Traders reach out to me all the time, and they say, how do I manage my emotions from going to a combine to an express account? And then again, how do I manage my emotions going from an express account to a live account? And this is an amazing example. Very beginning of this express account, you're not going for a home run. It looks like you're just going for $200, $200, $200, $200. So beautiful, small wins. Slowly build an account. It's brand new. You just get an express funded account. You just want to see and build that confidence. I love seeing this. So I'm curious, if I click on this, and I love this about Topstep X, you could just click on the day, and there we have it. We can dive in depth. And so I'm curious, what was this trader's very first trade? So brand new express funded account, very first trade, $20. $20. Trading the YM. Minus 25. Boom, $200. Same, I like this. This is just all positive right here. Same position size. One contract on the YM. 20, 20, 25. Boom, 205. Locked it up. Didn't trade another trade today. Locked it up, was done. Beautiful. Kept those profits. Day one of the XFA. Couldn't be any better. Let's take a look at day two. Okay. This is another thing I like to see. Micros. Here is a beautiful micro trade. $200. One trade, 5 micros, and $200 done for the day. And sure enough, I don't want to go through all of this, but I think this is a beautiful example of trading small. Look, this trader's trading small in an XFA, hitting that $200 target, and I love that. I absolutely love it. Next thing I want to check, let's go ahead and move into the next month. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at a losing day. Losing day. Beautiful. And I think this is something that is very underrated. This is a losing day, but this is a good losing day. And I know it sounds counterintuitive when I say good losing day. A good losing day is the fact that it wasn't all on one trade. It wasn't, I lost $1,000 on one trade. I see gold, there's multiple contracts, multiple trades. So, that is can be considered a good losing day. You stopped at 1,000, $1,000 loss, but it was, spread across more than just one trade. Looks like YM, gold, and I'm curious. Let's see. Yeah, spreading it across, right? You're not just trading micros. I'm trying to find something negative here, and I'm having a hard time finding anything negative. So all positive. Love this. Excited. Trading the micros. Beautiful. So congratulations. I love seeing this. This is a great example. Nothing but positivity. Wow. It's great to see. I love analyzing the statistics. I love to see somebody starting out in a brand new XFA express funded account, over 1 month in an express funded account, solid, statistics over a nice period of time. And man, love to see this. All positive. Trying to find something negative to pick out of it, but doing good. I mean, the only thing that I have that I can say that's negative is one bad day can eat up a few good days, right? So there is a little bit of that where one bad day ate up 3 or 4 of these good days, but you do have some good $1,000 winning days. If you didn't have these $1,000 winning days, then that would be a red flag where one bad day, just erases, 5 good days, right? So, 202, 222 will add up to one losing day. But you have some of those $1,000 winning days, and it looks like you're eligible for a payout, right? Because you have had, looks like daily target of $200. And yeah, interesting. Market rally everywhere. I mean, gold hasn't moved. Let's take a look. And here we go. Let's jump into the Nasdaq because I want to be Yeah, wow. Yeah, there we go. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. What do we say? This is what I was looking for. I mean, that was simple, right? If we're playing for a move to back up to the top of this consolidation, buy low, sell high. There we go. Very simple, very obvious. Just another casual one. What is this? Just love this. Since we opened up tonight, we've just rallied 250 points in slow markets. Wow. Let's take a look at NKD, and then I have a few things to talk about. Whoa. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Oh, what happened? Anybody know? That's insane. We're up 7.5%. Something happened. Does anybody know what happened? Yen dropped. Good morning. Okay. Wow. Wow. That is one heck of a move. Wow, that is something else. Interesting. I have nothing to say on that. That is Bank of Japan not raising rates. Is that true? Bank of Japan intervention. Powell let them borrow his printer. Squeeze Japan announcement. No interest rate hike. If that's true, what a spin. Oh my gosh. They paused for the moment. My goodness. Yeah, the whole chat is on it. Oh, well, plot twist. There, told you, things could change like that. Like, yeah, nice, beautiful 250 point rally here in the Nasdaq. That's our normal daily range on some days, but yeah, why not? Why not? Slow markets, 250 points. Nikkei is just, of course, they're going to be talking about this tomorrow, but you've seen it here first. This is, wow. Wow, it's not stopping either. It's not. It is not. We're just going up and up and up. There you go. That's better. That's what I'm used to. Let's see. Sometimes change with my view. So now, wow, that is just sit back and watch. Sit back and watch. That's all I'm going to do. That's all you can do. Like that. Look at this. That is, wow. Yeah, 7.5 so far. How big of a bounce is this? Let me see. From the bottom, how big of a move? From the bottom of this, 17%. We're up 16, 17%. But now remember, everything in perspective. That's after a 21% rally. So we need to also make sure we're understanding this is in perspective. Minus 21% and then a 17% rally. So it's always perspective. And I'm curious. Let's just go ahead and throw a fib on this. Fibonacci. Let's take a look. What does the good old Fibonacci say? Oh, if I could control it. So what does good old Fibonacci say? Is that a fib retracement? Yep. That's we're getting close. How's that? Sometimes I'm just so used to the market, and I've now remember I have done plenty of in-depth studies of Fibonacci retracements. How about that? Ooh, look at that 50% retracement. That was a banger of a trade if you were to short right there at that 50% retracement on that sell-off. Is this going to be a banger of a trade? The 61.8? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow we're going to be talking about maybe that 61 and an eighth is another banger of a trade. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Anyway, I've had my fun. I'm getting some FOMO on there. Nasdaq pushing and pushing, going back up, seeing 300s. Now that being said, everybody, I love this. This is why I wanted to talk about the beautiful top step levels. So taking a look, top step daily levels. Here we have it. So I'm going to just zoom in so it looks a little bit better. Top step daily levels. I am going to be watching this. I'm very interested to see these top step daily. It's an indicator, if you dare say it's an indicator, but essentially that's what it is. You guys know what the daily levels are. You guys seen Hoag's beautiful explanation this morning during the fast markets. But there it is. It's right there on the Nasdaq. I'm really excited to see how this is, see how it works. Now remember, as always, I just Topstep did say this as well, is that it's not a signals. These are just key levels based off of some of the amazing people here at Topstep, and it's basically just integrated key levels from some of the performance coaches like, Coach Jay, Hoag, the teams that you guys are hearing about on the Topstep TV day show, where they have like that extra level of confidence and they just put these levels out saying, hey, this could be an area of interest. Maybe take a look and see. I'm really interested. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to say, okay, whose levels? They sometimes seem to line up with my own. Obviously this first one, it looks like there's two of them up here, right around the 385, 390. It's going to be interesting. And so I'm going to be watching this. I will give my honest opinion on this as I see this and as I go through it. It's awesome. I love the daily levels. Sometimes these daily levels are absolutely fire. And they work out really amazing. However, like I said, not a signals. These are not like, as soon as it touches this, sell it. As soon as it touches that one, buy it. It really is just to help add like maybe some confidence. It's areas where, the market could react around them. So use them as you will. It's going to be interesting to watch those. And I like it. I'm excited for that. We will see how they are. I'm going to take a look at them. Maybe we look at them every night and see how they correspond to the way I analyze the market. It's really quick, really easy. Let's take a look at ES. There's some on ES. Oh, wow. There's a lot of levels down here on ES. Nothing until we get back up to those 30s. So, yeah, use them. Beautiful. We'll see how it goes. That being said, now remember, guys, if you missed it, if you're going to be staying awake for this crazy type of a market environment, Dee has her London session at 3:30 a.m. Stay tuned to that if you can't sleep. Other than that, I will look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow in this crazy market environment. Best advice, scale down. If you do trade this, scale down, trade micros. As we go through these statistics, micros work. You just seen a statistic of somebody in an XFA making money in an XFA, $200 in XFA, scaling down, using micros. It is a beautiful thing. So other than that, all I have to do is say, it was fun. I appreciate it. I love slow markets. And guess what? Pray for peace. I love Hoag saying, pray for peace.